Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn it over to my man, just Johnny, real quick. You got an indie?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. You got an indie game that you want to lay on us real quick, my friend?
Yeah. So the game is called Ghost 1.0.
The Ghost 1.0.
And it's a roguelike Metroidvania style 2D shooter.
You got a couple more terms you want to throw at us there? Is a puzzle like dungeon crawling, pen and paper?
Dungeon crawling, no puzzles. You can have a pen and paper if you want.
Pen and paper, underwater racing.
Yeah. So this is a video game. It's available on Steam. You essentially play as this this robot you are an operative. Mm-hmm. And you're all right. So you're playing as the robot that this operative is controlling, and the operative remotely controls this robot and goes around infiltrating this floating station in space that is responsible for manufacturing all of the robots. Think like iRobot.
You're like a drone strike leader type character.
So you're a covert op, and your job, you're hired by these other two sort of nerdy programmer dudes.
Yes.
You're hired by them to infiltrate and sabotage what's going on at the station. And sabotage is a loose term. They're sort of figuring it out as you go through. Mm-hmm. And as you're going through, you sort of learn the operative, the one that's controlling, the one that's possessing this robot.
When you say possessing, now do you mean possessing like Oddworld possessing, like PsyOps possessing? Because that would be awesome. If these weren't my drones that I sent in, if I'm just taking over the minds of enemy units, because that in itself is always badass. I myself have been very jazzed about games where you get to be that sadistic weirdo from a distance.
So possession is all right. So this is sort of where the game gets its main mechanic and its name from. Yeah. Is that as the operative, you are able to leave your your android body, mm-hmm. and then go into sort of a ghost form, but it's sort of like matrixy, sort of you are like a bunch of like bits, but you're in the shape of a ghost.
Like a techno ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you're able to sort of fly around this infrastructure, mm-hmm. and then possess other robots that are in the infrastructure, whether they be worker robots or security robots that are sort of there to kill anyone that's infiltrating or anything like that. Okay. So you're able to go around and possess other robots and sort of forcibly trigger other security systems that are going into place, all the while figuring out the story of who you are, because you slowly realize that your own character doesn't realize who she is, mm-hmm. And that sort of ties into the overall plot, which is also the plot of why the other two main characters that hired you, why they have you in there as well. They don't really know, but everyone sort of collectively figures it out as it goes. But essentially, it's a 2D platformer, mm-hmm. And I would.
Yeah, give me the highs and lows, man. Because I'm jazzed. It's a 2D platformer, but dude, you offered up the term possession.
Yeah. Yes.
Ghosts.
So.
And the.
It doesn't. Other than the possession mechanic, it doesn't do anything that's too different from what you've seen in other games. But it as that big giant jungle of words that I sort of came up with, it does have a lot of elements of a lot of other games, and it sort of borrows all of these things and puts it together into its own game to make itself. Mm-hmm. And it does it pretty well. It has very intricate mechanics, especially with the roguelike stuff. So every time you're going through, you're getting unique drops and unique power-ups that you're collecting off of enemies that you kill, or from whenever a security alarm triggers, you kill all the enemies in a room, and then you get a bunch of presents and power-ups as a reward. Mm. But what happens when you die is that all of your power-ups drop at that spot.
Ah, okay.
So then you resurrect, and the resurrection is actually kind of cool because you're playing as a robot. Mm. The resurrection is a 3D printer. So it's that I had to give my hats off to them for figuring that one out. And then you have one chance to recover some of your power-ups, and that's sort of the roguelike element, because you don't know what power-ups are going to drop, and then when you die, you get punished by losing most of your things. Mm. but there are permanent power-ups that you can get as you play along that stay with you even if you get reprinted. And you're going around this big giant map a la Metroid, Castlevania, and you're figuring out, you're gaining access to new areas that you weren't able to previously access before through like key cards. You're able to build yourself up to get new abilities like double jump and then hover.
Well, standard stuff, man. But okay, would you recommend it? Because I'm not getting like much new stuff, but you still seem kind of jazzed about it.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend it if you are a fan of roguelikes, and I'm not saying like because you can be a fan of any one of these genres.
Yeah, you gave us like 7 of them, though.
Yeah, and definitely enjoy it. It's the cutscenes and sort of the voice acting is a little. That's probably the weakest point. There is. Yeah, I was actually surprised.
Rare for a 2D.
Indie game. Yeah.
Are we talking like, what am I fighting for? Or are we talking more along the lines of my phone? Or, yeah, I'll be like, oh, yo. Or are we talking like, House of the Dead? No, don't come.
It's on the lower level of what is acceptable, so it won't. It won't make your ears bleed. It's not good, but it's also not bad. Like, it's fine that it's there. I didn't like block my ears. I didn't try to turn it off or anything like that. It's fine. Mm-hmm. But don't expect anything fantastic.
Gotcha. No Castlevania.
All right, so you can play with your pants off, but just know you'll need it. No, I'm saying sorry. Okay, so what's it available for, man?
It's available on PC through Steam.
On PC through Steam. The game is Ghost 1.0.
Ghost 1.0. Yeah.
All right. When you revive, you're revived by a 3D printer. So I guess in the Ghost beta, it's dot matrix, and you come out, you're like green and white stripes. It's like Super Rad Ray Gun or a Game Boy game. Sorry, I'm old, people.
Pat, you're making your own game over here, and that sounds great. I'll take that one.
Awesome. I've got investors. All right, well.